A U.S. intelligence official confirms to CBS News that North Korea has tested a new guided weapon system. North Korea's state-run media first reported the test, saying it was overseen by the country's leader Kim Jong-un. The U.S. official says the weapon is, quote, tactical and not ballistic. And joining me now is CBS News national security correspondent David Martin. He joins us now from the Pentagon. David, good to see you.
How are you?
Good, good. So what do we know about the missile?
Well, we know that it did not set off all of the warning systems that the U.S. has arrayed around North Korea to detect the first signs of a ballistic missile launch. A ballistic missile is one that can threaten South Korea, Japan, or even the United States, depending on its range. Now, the North Koreans are calling this a tactical weapon, and a tactical weapon is generally a short-range weapon. Now, there are UN sanctions that prohibit North Korea from developing ballistic missiles, but there are no sanctions preventing them from developing other types of weapons. So we don't know yet enough detail about what this test entailed to know if it really is in any way a violation of the UN resolutions against North Korea, or whether this is just North Korea developing its own military weapons. But I think what is unquestionably significant about this is the fact that the North Koreans have chosen to publicize both the fact of the test and that it was personally supervised by Kim Jong-un. And just yesterday, Kim Jong-un publicized the fact that he had visited an Air Force base and warned the pilots that just because there are negotiations going on between the U.S. and North Korea and with South Korea, that doesn't mean they can let down their vigilance, because things could go wrong at any moment. So I think it's pretty clear here that we are starting to see signals from Kim Jong-un that he is beginning to lose patience and faith in the prospect of any agreement coming out of his two summit meetings with President Trump.
All right, David, the White House says they are aware of the report. How have Pentagon officials reacted?
Well, they are saying essentially the same thing. They do not have confirmation of what kind of test this actually was. What they do have confirmation of is that it did not trigger all of the warning systems that monitor North Korea 24/7 and are aimed at getting a split-second warning on the liftoff of any weapon that could threaten the U.S. or its allies.
All right, could this potentially be another setback in U.S. and North Korean relations? Of course, just because you have negotiations doesn't mean a deal has been set. That's why they call it negotiations.
Yeah, well, it's not a good sign, that's for sure. And particularly if it turns out, if we learn from the details of the test that it is in violation of the UN sanctions, then of course the U.S. would feel compelled to go to the UN and seek some further kind of action. But right now, we don't have evidence that this was a test of any weapon that is prohibited under UN resolutions, or any of the weapons that Kim Jong-un has promised not to test as long as negotiations are going on with the United States.
All right, David Martin at the Pentagon. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.